Have you ever been in an accident or heard of people getting into an accident and people in the back seat are getting hurt? Wearing a seatbelt in the back seat may not be mandatory in many countries, but for one's own sake, just to be safer, it's the best option to wear seatbelt in the back seat. Throughout my speech, I'm going to talk about why wearing seatbelt in the back seat is important, and this will be done by discussing three main ideas. Firstly, I am going to talk about the causes and dangers of not wearing seatbelt in the back. Secondly, I'm going to talk about how it should be mandatory. And finally, I'm going to give an example of an incident. There are many causes and dangers for not wearing seatbelt in the back seat. So many people around the world have rules for when they drive. For example, some people may not start their car until everyone in the front and back seat are wearing their seatbelts. Others may start driving and no one in the car is wearing seatbelt. Think about how many people died or got injured because they did not wear their seatbelt, whether you are sitting in the front or back of the car. Why should people risk their own lives in going in cars and not wearing their seatbelt? No matter how good of a driver you are, you never know what might happen when you're on the way to see something. When getting into an accident, the people in front have a lot of things to protect them. For example, the airbags. The people sitting in the back seat, the people sitting in the back next to the windows may have protection, but the person sitting in the middle may not be the safest because it's. But think about the people who are sitting in the middle and not wearing seatbelt. The person is risking their own lives by sitting in the middle and hoping that nothing will happen. Everyone needs to start thinking about what might happen if they do not wear their seatbelt in the back of the car. You cannot assume that everything will be fine and nothing is going to happen, because once again, you never know what might happen to the driver. There hasn't been any laws that support people sitting in the back should wear seatbelts. The National Conference of States said that riders in the back seat do not have to wear seatbelts after a certain age. Passengers can ride in the back seat without wearing seatbelts, ranging from the age of 7 to 18, depending on the state law. Why would someone listen and risk their own lives because of not having to wear a seatbelt? Wearing a seatbelt is not harmful at all. It is just a strap that will hold you in case anything happens in the car. No matter how old he or she is, they should always think about what could happen at any point when someone is driving. Every country should start setting up laws. That way, it will force people to make sure everyone is buckled up in the car. If there is a set law that states everyone should be wearing seatbelts, even in the back seat, and if in the back seat, and if you do not wear a seatbelt, the driver will get a fine. I believe that everyone will start forcing people in the car to be wearing seatbelts. Department of Transportation data shows that 22% of the backseat passengers do not buckle up. In a cab, the numbers are much worse. Not buckling up in a cab is really dangerous. There are also many crazy cab drivers that don't think when they are driving, so why would you risk your own life of dying in a car just because you weren't wearing a strap? People are just as likely to be injured or killed in the back seat if they're not wearing seat belts as they are in the front seat. This was said by Chairman Herzman. What he's trying to say is that if one gets in a car accident, all the people in the car are likely to have the same injury. Everyone needs to start putting pieces together and thinking about how many people have died in a car accident because they weren't wearing a seatbelt. Seatbelts save lives. Seatbelt laws save lives, and when you enforce seatbelt laws, they even save more lives. Here's an example that are going to leave you thinking about why everyone in the car should be wearing a seatbelt. First of all, you went out with a couple of friends to a concert, and the concert finished really late. Your friend is slowly falling asleep because she is tired, and there are 3 people sitting in the back seat that have already fallen asleep, but they decided not to wear seatbelts. The girl who has been driving for 30 minutes, her eyes are slowly closing and can barely see in front of her. The car is moving slowly side to side. 5 minutes later, she opens her eyes and she realizes she's going the opposite way. What ends up happening is that she gets into a really bad car accident and people in the back have no idea what is happening. Everyone in the car gets injured really badly, but the people sitting in the back seat got hurt the most because they decided not to put something so small that doesn't bother you when you're about to fall asleep. If the girls in the back seat used their brain and just put the seat belt as soon as they got into the car, they wouldn't have been injured badly. There are many other situations in which people get killed because of something so dull. I think people are just being ignorant because they don't think they need seatbelts in the back seats. To conclude, the 3 main points that were discussed in this speech were causes and dangers of not wearing seatbelt, to start putting up laws, and finally an example of what happened when someone is not wearing seatbelt in the back seat. Everyone needs to start thinking properly and realizing that driving is not a joke and what it can do to one's life. A strong and powerful quote to end the speech was once said by Holman, is that seatbelts save lives, seatbelt laws save lives, and when you enforce seatbelt laws, they even save more lives.